The whole time that's going on, I'm always rocking it out. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Business Plugs Mixer. Hi, my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug. And you've tuned into the Business Plugs Mixer here on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This is business conversations with business people for business people. And tonight is not going to be any different. So if you're watching this, go ahead and click and like and share and tell your friends about it. Like, you're going to love, love, love the conversation we have today for you. My guest is in the green room, and she's going to come out and talk about her fabulousness all the way from Houston, Texas. So shout out to Houston. But before we get to that, I need to tell you two things, because my folks, right, they make sure that I keep my house clean, that I keep doing my housekeeping, right? So the housekeeping is, the first thing, if you are a Black-owned business in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, and you have been in business for 2 years or more, and you have made between $10,000 and $249,000, right? If you're somewhere in that little bracket in the middle there, then I am hosting a free workshop called Ready, Set, Funded. A lot of those businesses in that little pocket there are not being served. There are plenty of startup people teaching people how to start a business, but very few are teaching people how to sustain a business. And that's what this is. This is I can't even talk. This is sustainability 101 and 201, because we got, if you're in the room and you already have your credentials, we're going to take it even higher. But the program is on May the 3rd, and the tickets are free. Go to Eventbrite and get your ticket. I just opened it up today. I have only 20 spots because it's going to be intimate and it's going to be very engaging. And I'm even serving you lunch. So we're doing the whole thing for you. You come, you get your snacks, you get your information, and you go out and save the world and make money, recurrent income, applying what you learn. So that's one thing that we're working on. The other thing, if your business needs an assessment, say you're stuck, you've been trying these different programs and doing these different things and showing up in all these rooms and all these things, and it's still not working. I get it. I do get it. And so the 360, the LSMB 360 degrees business assessment is probably what's going to break you through that, whatever you're going through. It has been a breakthrough process for many of the businesses who have employed me to get it. So if you're interested in getting a 360 review of your business so you can see the blind spots and see what's keeping you from making money, go ahead and go to getthebusiness.org, and we can have the 360 business assessment where I help you break through that stag hole, that place where you are, right? So those are the two things I need to tell you about. And now I am so excited because my guest, she has came and spoke to my class. We have been talking for hours. She's introduced me to some of her friends. Like, we have been having a relationship offline. And then now today I get to introduce her to the Business Plugs Mixers family. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Leah Rutledge to the stage. Hey, Leah.
Hey, how you doing, Linda Murray Bullard, the business plug herself?
Girl,
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for your yes and for coming on the show. We're so glad to have you. So please tell us, who is this lady that's sitting on the other side of me?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Linda. Yes, we have definitely had our moments of like, well, when is it going to happen? So we are finally here. I am Leah Rutherford, and I am purpose, P, psychologically, U, unemployable on an R, relentless, P, pursuit to O, overcome the S, stigmas of E, entrepreneurship. And I passionately share the pathway from W2ing to entrepreneuring. And I love to have this conversation.
Yay, I love it. So how did you get started on this journey, ma'am?
This journey of entrepreneurship found me. I came to Houston, Texas by way of Teach for America as a core member of 1995. after graduating from the Spelman College in Atlanta, Georgia.
All right.
Once I got to the teaching world, within the first year of education, even though I was a science major, teaching was never on my radar. Med school was. And about halfway into the school year, leadership skills showed themselves in a way that I didn't even know were present. And I was elected as the science department chairperson. So by my second year of teaching, I was already getting mentorship from gurus in the education field. I learned later that there were opportunities where once I got some of that training under my belt, that I could train teachers.
Yes.
And starting in 1999, the year 2000, I was introduced to an amazing entrepreneur here in the city of Houston, Miss Doris Trice, where I began my consulting business as a subcontractor and recognized the power of exponential reach when I was training and coaching teachers. That was a lot different than the reach I had when I was in the classroom with 7th and 8th graders. Now, don't get me wrong. Those were powerful touches as well. I still have students that reach out to me to this day, and I may get to tell you a story, but that will say, Miss Rutherford, because of your teaching, I became a math statistician. Because of your teaching, I did well in my neurosurgery class because of something you taught me in 8th grade. So I don't take lightly that reach at all. But I recognized that when my impact was exponential, that put me on a pathway to loving the world of consulting. And I'm a butterfly in a sense. So just going to the same place every day, that just did not work for me. I needed opportunities to, get out there and touch the world. And this world of entrepreneurship allowed that to happen for me.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. That is wonderful. That is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And so today, you come from an educational background.
Yes.
And so I know the important thing that I've learned, like I teach GED math and science for the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, TCAT. And so I know in people learn differently.
Correct.
And our educational systems have not been enough to support all the different ways that people learn.
Correct.
And so
that's absolutely correct.
Yeah. And so you're teaching science and applied math and all the things that they said that's the hard stuff. You're teaching.
Now that's what I was teaching when I was in the classroom. Right.
Right.
And you mentioned something that is critical. Everybody learns differently. And whether they are 5-year-old learners or 35-year-old learners, the fact that one needs information given to them verbally because they're auditory learners. One needs you to write it down because they're visual learners. Another's going to need you to let them do it. They have to interact with that because they're kinesthetic learners. Exactly. And for the most part, a 5-year-old visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learner is the same 35-year-old with that particular learning style. Exactly. And what I learned is in the world of adult training, a lot of times that delivery becomes wah, 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 wah. Like adults are just supposed to enjoy you lecturing and throwing information at them. And I would sit in trainings when I began getting mentored, and I would say, how could this have been done in a way that was engaging and fun and interactive? And I would go home and in my mind, I would rewrite the training that I was in that day. And then it just became like a game for me. If I were delivering this, how would I make it cooperative? How would I have made it manipulative? And how would I engage these 35-year-olds the same way I'm challenged to engage the 13-year-olds that I'm with every day?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I feel that so much because I have people that say, well, if they had taught me math this in school, I would have still knew it. I would have
Right.
understood it this way, but that
Right.
wasn't the way I was taught. And
Hmm.
because a teacher in a classroom only has a few minutes to get the point across, and she's got to get it across to 25, 30 students, and that can be very difficult.
Correct.
So
So
yeah,
imagine that when you are, at least a lot of times in a teaching setting, you're dealing with wet cement, if you will, metaphorically speaking. So you as the teacher, you're mixing that cement and you're pouring it for the first time, especially if it's a concept that you are introducing that's age appropriate for
absolutely.
those particular students. But
Yeah.
imagine, a 20-year-old, a 17-year-old, that had learned something incorrectly or
Mm,
inaccurately. Now we've got to go break that cement
the
up
learning.
and
Yeah.
re-pour it. And so it's important that it's really taken seriously what you have in your hands when you're pouring that cement for the
Absolutely.
first time. But when you
Absolutely.
do have the esteemed privilege of being able to break up the cement and pour it again, then it is the goal to create a greater impression so that
Absolutely.
that now older learner can walk away with those misconceptions and gaps filled.
Exactly. Exactly. Because, and sometimes it takes debunking some of the information that they've seen or got second party. Like just
Correct.
like in school, your friend only knows as much as you know.
That's right.
Because I'm
For the
trying to
most
teach.
part.
Yeah, yes. Because the people most of the times when you talk about entrepreneurship, most of the times it's one person in the gang that gets the memo,
Right.
and then everybody else got another memo
Right.
on something else. But this
Right.
person finds themselves not feeling supported and not feeling aligned because the people they are hanging with has they don't have the memo. They already have position in their lives. I always tell them, leave your husband and kids alone. They already have positions. Find you a business network and then, collaborate with the business network because business owners, we speak a very different language
Very
and we
different.
think on a very different level
Correct.
than the average person. We see opportunities in everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
They think
Well,
we
you
all
think
over
you
the place,
probably.
Miss Linda. That's what they think. But it's really not that,
No.
because there are so many opportunities to create and to
Mm-hmm.
build and to grow and to take what's been put in you and really recognize, as I introduced myself as purpose, your purpose, and
Yes.
understanding that every day. And this is not to knock anybody that chooses a career path that includes working for someone.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
every day that you're building someone else's dream is one day less that you're building yours. And all of us came here with our own individual purposes. And that could mean that you do it within a corporation. Would that mean there's a term for that? John Maxwell calls you an intrapreneur, where
Yeah.
you are working within a already existing system, but you are able to implement your own ideas, goals, and visions within that already existing organization, which is
Absolutely.
a beautiful space to be in. But if you
Absolutely.
are a visionary, if you are a thought leader, if you are a risk taker, if you are willing to put your behind on the line in the name of your own purpose, then there's a leap that certain people will just be willing to take, and they will bear the burden of the risk for the sake of working 80 hours for their own purpose. And those are the people that we're talking about today.
Absolutely. And you have a presentation that you're going to give us. So let us go to that now. I'll add it to the frame. And then I'm going to bow out and let you have it, ma'am.
Well, I appreciate that, Miss Linda. I'm thank you guys that are tuned in, and Vicious is the brand under which I do a lot of my visionary work. So you all will see that throughout this presentation, and I'll have an opportunity to explain to you exactly what it is. Last week during my meditation, I was sitting quietly, and the words Nehemiah 2 came to me. Now, this is by no means intended to be a Bible study, but it was something that as I read it, I said, is there something in this for me related to my purpose? And I asked Chat GPT the question. I said, Chat GPT, what is the connection of the work that I do and this reading of Nehemiah? I actually read 2 through 5. And Chat GPT gave me an excellent set of feedback that I want to share with you guys today. So, like Nehemiah, in this case, Nehemiah was building, he was battling, and he was being favored. So, to you powerhouse people out there, I'm not just standing here with you as a businesswoman, not just as a builder of companies and curriculums, but as a modern day Nehemiah. And this is why, because I know what it feels like to look at a broken system and say, not on my watch. I came to speak to the people that are wall builders, to the people that are purpose pushers, and to the dream defenders. If that's you, I want you to write in the comments the word build, B-U-I-L-D, build. Now listen, one of the things that I understood as I started doing a little bit of research on this is that, number one, Nehemiah found favor with God. And in that process, he aligned with his purpose. And that was the vision for, in this story, for Jerusalem. And so the other thing Nehemiah did is he responded with prayer. He asked for divine guidance before he took action. And then Nehemiah took bold steps despite overwhelming odds. Now, as I go through this and I talk to you about Nehemiah, I want you to see which parts of this story connect to where you are in your journey of business building, entrepreneurship, or even if you are still trying to decide if entrepreneurship is the pathway that you intend to go. Okay, so let's arm ourselves with some of the same mindset that elevated Nehemiah to becoming a change agent. Number one, he had a burden before he had a blueprint. So let me ask you, what is the thing that you think about that keeps you up at night? Because you know, a dream is not what you see in your sleep. A dream is what you see that keeps you from sleeping. The dream is the thing that won't let you sleep. So my question to you is, what is that you feel the burden for? Something that you are driven to do, that you know you have either the expertise or you've had experience in that space where you know that your victories and your triumphs through those particular trials and scenarios, you can help somebody else get to the other side of that. That is the burden that you carry. And what you are, where your favor comes in this process is through assignment. How many times have you thought of something at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning? It came to you, you're like, oh my God, it's an amazing idea. How many times have you met somebody that had resources that could have taken you to the next level, and then you just let that connection fall by the wayside? Think about what type of opportunities you may have passed up by being apathetic. Here's the thing. Many of those opportunities are your assignment. So I encourage you to think about what comes to your thoughts. What is that thing that's keeping you awake? And if that thing is a burden, there's a blueprint for the next steps for you. That particular burden becomes your vision. It becomes the blueprint for the calling. Now, the next thing that Nehemiah did is he prayed and he planned. So for those of you all that meditate, you pray, you do yoga, you get grounded, you're a Christian, you're a Buddhist, you have your different religious practices, but you know without a doubt there is a deity greater than you, then you got to be willing to tap in to that faith. You have to know that there is also a requirement for you to do work. So in my good book, it says faith without works is dead. If you're only praying and you're not working, then you're not going to get there. If you're only working and you're not praying, then you're not going to get there. But if you're praying and you're planning, then you are on the way. Prayer is the power, but planning is proof of the faith. Okay? Make sure you are seeking divine downloads. Make sure you are creating a structure. And that may mean you need a coach because you don't know how to make this shift. You don't know how to set up your documents. You don't know how to get an LLC, an INC, a city license, a certification. Okay? If you need that support, then tap in to places where coaches are, people with elevated mindsets, people that are willing to look at entrepreneurship as a career path. And then, of course, once you organize your vision, write the vision, make it plain, then that's where your blessings come in. I have heard it said this way: opportunity plus preparation equals success. Thirdly, Nehemiah asked boldly. He went to the king and said, "King, I need timber. I need time off. I need travel pass." If you go back and you read the story, Nehemiah was called to rebuild the wall. And when I say the wall, I'm going to just use it as a metaphoric thing. The wall is that burden. The wall is that vision. The wall is that space that I'm telling you you need a blueprint for. The wall is the direction that you're being pulled in when you are being waken up at night. Okay? So don't be afraid to approach authority and ask for what you need. Voice your request and then be open to receive resources. Sometimes we get humble when someone's ready to bless us and we say, "Oh, that's okay. I got it. No." Because what you're doing is blocking their blessings by closing off your receivership. Your favor is waiting on you to ask. Closed mouths. Usually this says closed mouths don't get fed. But from a business standpoint, I know Miss Linda will appreciate this. Closed mouths don't get funded. Open your mouth and ask boldly for what you want. And know that every no is a step closer to your yes. Now, be clear. This is not going to happen smoothly. You're not about to go down a Texas road that has no hills, no valleys, no mountains. This is more like the California mountains, okay? That you're going to be curving and winding and going up, and down, down, down. It's going to turn into a one-lane highway in some places, and you're going to be squeezing against the side of the mountain in other places because there will be opposition when you are focused. So in the story of Nehemiah, there were these two villains, if you will, and they tried to stop the plan by menacing with Nehemiah and his people. But I want you to take a minute, write this in the comments. I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. I'll repeat that. I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. In this part of the story, Sanballat and Tobiah mocked Nehemiah. They attacked his character. They tried to stop his progress. They took everything that he did and they misconstrued it. They misinterpreted it and they lied on him and they tried to kill him. But guess what? Nehemiah continued to stay focused in the opposition. Now his unwavering focus led to the completion of the walls. And remember, I mentioned the walls are your vision. The walls are your dream. The walls are the things that you are compelled towards to lead, to build, and to grow in your community, in your family, in your home, etc. Stay focused on your elevation. Distractions are disguised attacks. Now I'm going to push through this next section, but basically Nehemiah was working with both hands. He had purpose in one hand and he had protection in the other hand. Don't be afraid to stand in your faith and fight, because your vision is going to require both a stance in purpose and a willingness to protect the vision that was given to you. Be okay with saying no and guard your yeses. There will be many opportunities that will come your way, and you'll feel like you have to say yes to everything. You do not. It is okay to say no. I'm going to give you a line for those of us that struggle. And I said us because I'm one of them that struggle with saying no. Just cross your hands gently and you say, thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm going to have to say no this time. And you say it with a smile, with a gentle countenance, and don't feel bad. And that's the end of the sentence. No explanation needed, because you've got to guard your yes so that you have the energy, the fuel, the resources, and the time to continue to build the wall. Now, quick modern day application of how to be a Nehemiah. Make sure you're writing down the things that break your heart. That's the burden. That's what you're being pushed toward. And then, like I said, pray and plan. That leads to the prosperity. Balance your spiritual preparation with practical action. And then that will lead you to actualizing, realizing, and monetizing your mission. Your call to action is this today. Number one, you're building the wall for your legacy that will outlast you. Keep in mind that this has nothing to do with other people's ideas of what you should be doing. This is all about you being here to not just build income, but to build impact. Not just income, but impact. You're not just building a brand, you're building a wall of legacy. And like Nehemiah, God has already sent you provision for your passion. In the story, when I read it, Nehemiah went after God had already sent. The king had sent favor. The king had sent provision, and the king had sent protection ahead of Nehemiah so that he could go and lead the vision. He could go and build the wall. What is required of you is that you commit. One wall. In this case, this story took 52 days. How many days, weeks, months have you set up your plan for? Do you have a 30-day, a 60-day, a 90-day, a 1 year, a 3-year plan and goal? Are you working with someone that will hold you accountable? And then are you committed? You're called to construct your own comeback story, the comeback story of your community, the comeback story of your family. That is still your calling. And even though you have faced opposition, even though while you were standing in your vision, you may have been lied on. You may have been told that doesn't make sense. You may have been thought of as crazy. That does not mean it was not for you to do. It means that you are required to be committed because you're doing a great work. Don't forget, as you are constructing the wall, that yes, people will see it differently. Why? Because everybody, especially non-entrepreneurs, just don't think the way that entrepreneurs think. Be okay with building your wall, even when others don't understand. So now I want you to say this out loud. I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. Now, I want you to take an opportunity to connect with me. This is the work that I love, as working with and building people's ideas, their visions, their goals. I offer business coaching in the space where people are W-2ing and they want to know how to sustainably transition into entrepreneuring. I have an upcoming podcast, video cast. By the beginning of May, I will have solid dates and times. But it's called W2ing to Entrepreneuring. And it's about building the wall of your burden, of your vision, of your goals outside of the purpose that you're building for someone else. Again, as I mentioned, if you are going to a job, especially one that you don't like or that is zapping your energy, you every day that you're going to that job, you're building someone else's purpose and taking away one more day that you could be building your own. Now,
I
some of
love
the
it.
spaces I coach in, Airbnb investing, education consulting. I am a public speaker and would love to be keynote for any of your upcoming events. And last but not least, if you book a calendar, get on my calendar and book some time with me today, you will get my free PDF, 101 Steps to Entrepreneurship. Look, it has been a plum pleasing pleasure and a privilege to be with y'all today. So much more to come. And I look forward to opportunities like this again. Miss Linda, thank you for your grace and thank you for allowing me to be a part of your work today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for bringing all those nuggets. I was sitting there looking and clapping in my hands. And I was like, oh, she's talking about funding.
Exactly.
You know, that's my sweet spot right now. So
I
thank you,
know.
thank you, thank you for your yes. And so what is one thing you would like whoever's watching this to take away from this event?
I would like a person that's watching this to feel encouraged
Hmm.
to take the leap. Don't be
Yes,
afraid and know that faith is ahead of you. Favor
absolutely.
is ahead of you.
Absolutely.
Provision and protection is ahead of you, even if you cannot see. Nehemiah left in the dark. He could
Hmm.
not, but favor, protection, and provision was already ahead of him. So know that if you make that decision, when you say yes, God agrees.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, there's her information. Go ahead and book. She's got her booking coupon. Also, she's got her QR code here. Also, wherever you're watching this, if you go into the description, you'll see how to contact her directly. Make sure you do that because this information is too good for her to have and you not to have it access to it, right? So she's even offering to give you her free ebook. Like that's major. That's stuff you can take away after today. So if you're watching it in the replay, which most of you will, go ahead. It's unlimited until she says, okay, we're not doing that anymore. So, but she wants you to get back with her in the next 24 hours. But if by chance you're watching it the week after we do this, then go still reach out to her. Reach out to her and tell her that you saw this video, that you went through it, and that you're ready to see what she has going on at that time. Okay. So my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. And I just plugged you into being vicious out here in these streets. Go ahead, get this information, and then we'll see you next Sunday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time here on the Business Plugs Mixer. Have a great week, everybody.